Good morning, everyone. It is I, your man Nipan Sharma, and welcome back to another video. It is currently 1:26 a.m. on Friday, the 26th of February 2021. And these are my player ratings for the round of 16 Champions League fixtures, first legs, which happened on Monday and Tuesday night. So I am going to do the player ratings for Chelsea and the other teams that won the game. I would have done Chelsea regardless of whether we'd won or lost because, they're my favourite team. Anyway, and actually, since it's Champions League, the other teams, I'm just going to do which teams won. So I'm going to be doing Bayern Munich's player ratings, Real Madrid's player ratings, and Borussia Mönchengladbach's, and Manchester City's player ratings. So, with that being said, we move on to the player ratings. So starting off, in goal, Edouard Mendy. Now, despite the fact that we won the game, he was our worst player on the pitch. He's probably going to be the only player in this team that I give less than a 5. He was very nervy as a heavy touch, almost allowed João Felix to score. Some of his decision making was baffling, to say the least. He didn't have to make a save for the majority of the game. He gets a 4, just below average. He gets a 4. Now moving on to our right wing back in Callum Hudson-Odoi. He got forward very well in the first half. His crossing into the final box and his final touch was a bit lacking. I felt that he could have done more throughout the game, but But he wasn't that bad. I'm going to give him a 6.5. Now we move on to our centre-backs. Cesar Azpilicueta. He was caused all sorts of problems by Thomas Lemar. And he almost scored, the Frenchman did. But thankfully, it went wide. And he was really good in the second half, as Atletico tried to target his side. He gets a 7. Now moving on to our second of 3 centre-backs, Antonio Vridiger. He was really good in dealing with Atletico Madrid's counter-attack throughout, and he continues his resurgence in form. He gets a 7 and kept Atletico's front line. He kept Suarez and João Felix quiet, pocketed them at every opportunity. Now we move on to our third centre-back in Andreas Christensen. Dealt with Luis Suarez, kept him in his pocket in the first half. His distribution was good. Stood up well for us after we went ahead, clearing some headers. He gets an 8.5. One of our best players on the pitch. He kept Atletico's front line quiet. And his defensive work left Atletico without a single shot on target. Now we move on to Jorginho. Passing was... Sorry, not Jorginho. Andreas Christensen, he gets an 8.5. Now moving on to Marcos Alonso. Dead start. Lucky that his error wasn't punished by Thomas Lemar 15 minutes in. He offered plenty of width throughout, and he was a real threat on the counter-attack. Doubling as a left winger for us. He gets a 7.5. Jorginho. Dodgy passing for the majority of the game. He was better in the second half, but unfortunately, he will miss the second leg after picking up a booking in the second half. He gets a 6. Mateo Kovacic. Industrious but ineffective in the first 45 minutes of the game. Picked up pace after half-time, but he wasn't quite his usual self, and he was substituted in the 75th minute. He also gets a 6. Mason Mount. Unfortunately, he too will miss the second leg at Stamford Bridge because he picked up too many yellow cards. Yeah, he was a good bundle of energy, and he was far more disciplined in the tactical sense than usual. He gets a 7.5. Timo Werner. He had the best chance in the opening period, but unfortunately he was bettered by Jan Oblak from a tight angle. But what do you expect? Jan Oblak is the best goalkeeper in the world. Yes, better than Alisson, better than Edison, better than Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Heck, even better than Manuel Neuer. There, I said it. He was a little quiet in the second half. One half chance, but he missed it from a tight angle. 6 for Timo Werner. Now we move on to Olivier Giroud. Not really much of a note before he decided that he would show up, and he did so in spectacular form. And that's all you need to do in a game. And that is such an important away goal. And he gets props for that alone. Initially, I did not celebrate the goal because it went to VAR, initially for offside, thinking it came off Mason Mount, who was in an offside position. But VAR checked it, and it instead came off Atletico defender Mario Hermoso. Thankfully it was given, and it was because Mario Hermoso played Giroud onside. So he gets a 10 out of 10. And in my opinion, he is our man of the match. Oh, I might have forgotten to give Antonio Vridiger a rating. So please forgive me for that. He gets a 7, if I haven't already said it. So yeah, Olivier Giroud, 10 out of 10, man of the match. Now rating the sub. Hakim Ziyech, he came on for Mason Mount in the 74th minute. He didn't offer much to the game. He gets a 5 out of 10. N'Golo Conte bought in for Mateo Kovacic, also in the 74th minute. He did what he had to, and he came out to see the game out. 6.5. Reece James for Callum Hudson-Odoi in the 79th minute. He didn't come on for enough time for me to rate him. Kai Havertz for Olivier Giroud in the 86th minute. Still, he didn't come on for enough time for me to rate him. Christian Pulisic for Timo Werner in the 86th minute. Still not enough time for me to rate him, so not available, not applicable for all three. So yeah, that is our first match done. Now we move on to Lazio versus Bayern Munich. But before that, I have to give Atletico's man of the match as well. And that's Jan Oblak. If he wasn't in goal, we would probably be 2-0 or 3-0 up. He kept them in the game. There is no doubt about that. But that bicycle kick, no goalkeeper in the world was going to save that. So yeah, Atletico's man of the match, Jan Oblak. Now we move on to Lazio versus Bayern Munich. I said that Manchester City versus Borussia Mönchengladbach was going to be the most one-sided tie. Turns out this was the most one-sided tie. And I would not put it past Bayern Munich to go back-to-back in the Champions League. Now, starting off, in goal, probably the second best goalkeeper in the world, Manuel Neuer. Now, he was beaten by Joaquim Correa in the second half of the game. But he was not tested as much as his opposite number, Pepe Reina. But alert when the likes of Ciro Immobile came sniffing around. So yeah, he gets a 6.5. Now we move on to Niklas Süle. He was really good, considering the fact that he's a centre-back and he was playing at right-back. Although he made a very few forward runs, he caused some added nuisance to Lazio with his awkward frame. He gets a 6.5. Niklas Süle, 6.5. Now moving on to Jerome Boateng. Commanding and experienced presence at the back, but that defence was eventually breached by Angel Correa of Lazio at the start of the second half. He gets a 6.5. David Alaba. Paired with Jerome Boateng, he was despite not being in his natural position, and he was a little unlucky that the first half ball forward to Coman did not come off. He gets a 6.9 out of 10. Now moving on to Alfonso Davies. Oh my God, what a player. He is going to be, if not already, he is going to be one of the world's best left backs in the future. He was one of our most... He was one of Bayern's most defensive players. I wish we had him, though. Nah, chill. That's not going to happen. He was Bayern Munich's most energetic defensive player. The Canadian international was backed up by Kingsley Coman, and he offered a lot of attacking threat going forward at times. He gets a 7. Now moving on to the midfield. Joshua Kimmich tried to assist, put a ball on the platter for Robert Lewandowski. He was unable to finish it though, but then he formed a solid partnership in the middle with Jamal Musiala before he picked up a booking in the second half. Now, I don't know whether he will miss the second leg at the Allianz Arena. That will not make a difference though, because the tie's pretty much over. Unless they massively choke, which I doubt will happen. So yeah, Joshua Kimmich, he gets an 8. He is by far the best defensive midfielder in the world, in my opinion. Jamal Musiala. The 17-year-old showed a lot of maturity alongside Joshua Kimmich and took a first half strike well to further underline his potential and the excitement surrounding him. I believe he turns 18 in a few days. So yeah, happy early birthday, Jamal. Towards the end of the match, he was substituted for Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting. Leroy Sané. Yeah, he stretched the Lazio defence with his speed, combined well with Kingsley Coman, and picked up a goal with one of the easiest finishes you will find in the game. And then he was subbed off for Bonassar. He gets an 8, the former Man City player. And Jamal Musiala, if I haven't rated him already, he gets a 9. And in my opinion, he's man of the match. Now moving on to Leon Goretzka. Assisted Musiala's goal. It was very difficult for Lazio's defence and midfield to contain him due to his strength and physique, and he was subbed off with just over an hour remaining. He gets a 7.5. Kingsley Coman got an assist for Leroy Sané's goal, used his pace and trickery to his advantage, and he was subbed off with 75 minutes to go after being booked, probably as a precautionary measure for the game at the Allianz Arena. He picks up a 7.5, the Frenchman. Now moving on to the striker, the best striker in the world, by far, Robert Lewandowski. He got his goal in the first half, which takes him into the Champions League all-time top 3 scorers. His 72 goals now are only behind Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. But he missed a sitter in the early first half. But I'm not going to take that much away from him. He gets an 8. Now we'll move on to the subs. Javi Martinez came on for Leon Goretzka just after the hour. Not going to rate him. Came on, now we move on to Lucas Hernandez. Came on for his fellow French compatriot, Kingsley Coman, with 15 minutes to go. I'm going to give him a 5. Now we move on to Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting. I am not going to rate him because he came on too late. Now we move on to Bonassar. Came on too late for me to give him a rating. If you're subbed on after 80 minutes, you're not getting a rating. It's as simple as that. Now we move on to the managers. Yes, you heard it correctly, managers. Because I forgot to rate Chelsea's manager. My manager, Thomas Tuchel. Now he tactically. Now he chose his substitutes wisely. With Conte keeping the with keeping the midfield under control. Yeah. Thomas Tuchel gets a 6.5. Now moving on to the Hansi Flick. He was smart with only 6 substitutes on the bench, and he withdrew the recently returned Leon Goretzka as soon as it became clear the damage had been done. Despite the fact that Bayern were not on top gear, he gets a 7.5. Now, we move on to Tuesday's fixtures. Atalanta versus Real Madrid. Now, Atalanta actually showed a lot of fight, and they would feel hard done by that. I believe that red card was unfair. I honestly do. But yeah, Real Madrid have an away goal. And they will feel hard done by. But the tie is not over yet. Real Madrid could actually choke, as they did so in the last 2 Champions League games in the round of 16. They didn't choke against Man City. They were just tactically outclassed by Pep Guardiola. But they did choke the year before against Ajax. Now we move on to rating Real Madrid. Now starting off, in goal, Thibaut Courtois, former Chelsea player. He was largely a spectator during the match, as Atalanta rarely threatened him. He gets a 6 out of 10. Now moving on to the right back, Lucas Vazquez. He was good going forward at any given opportunity. Rarely targeted defensively, as Real Madrid was so dominant in possession. 6. Rafael Varane, a player we have been linked to. Saw a headed opportunity, but that was saved at the stroke of half-time by Pietro Luigi Golini. He gets a 6.5. Now we move on to Nacho. Hernandez. Had an adventurous charge through Atalanta's back line in the first half and made an important interception to prevent Luis Muriel from scoring a certain goal. Now we move on. He gets a 7 out of 10. Now we move on to Ferland Mendy. He was fouled on the edge of the box as he attempted to score a goal, which did cause Atalanta to be moved down to 10 men. Shot home a fabulous strike from the edge of the penalty area to give Real Madrid an away goal. In my opinion, that was one of the goal of the tournament contenders. He gets a 9 out of 10. And he's my man of the match for this game. Casemiro. All he did was pass all evening as Real Madrid dominated possession. Fortunate enough not to be sent off for a clear dive in the second half. He gets a 7 out of 10, though. Luka Modric saw one effort fly over the bar in the first half and another just trickle wide in the second. 7.5. Now we move on to Toni Kroos. Almost unlocked Atalanta's back line with a dangerous free kick at the stroke of half time. But unfortunately was able to unpick Atalanta's defence after the break. He gets a 6 out of 10. Now we move to Isco. He saw a first half effort go wide before slipping Vinicius Jr with a nutmegged pass. 6 out of 10. Now we move on to Marco Asensio. Produced a superb cross, begging to be turned home in the latter stages of the first half, but was frustrated by Atalanta's backline. 6.5 for the Spaniard. Now we move on to Vinicius Jr. Instrumental in sending Freuler, finding Mendy with probing a through ball, but he was replaced just before the hour mark. Now we move on to the substitutes. Mariano, he gets a 7 out of 10. Sergio Arribas, 6 out of 10. Hugo Duro, 7 out of 10. And I've already said my man of the match, Ferland Mendy. And Zinedine Zidane, 7 out of 10. Now we move on to our final fixture. The fixture I thought would be the most one-sided. Borussia Mönchengladbach versus Manchester City. In their past meetings in Europe, Manchester City have always got the better of Mönchengladbach. And this meeting was no different. So we go with the player ratings. So starting off, in goal, Ederson. He had nothing to do. except to come out and claim an overhit pass. He was forced to make a good save in the last 10 seconds, thanks to horrible play in front of him. He gets a 6 out of 10. Now we move on to Kyle Walker. Good defensively. On rare occasions, he was needed, but his defense deficiencies on the ball have grown more noticeable since João Cancelo came into form. He gets a 6.5. Ruben Diaz. He did everything needed of him, which was not much. His leadership continues to be important for the team. He gets an 8 out of 10. Aymeric Laporte. The few times he had to defend, Laporte was smart and solid. It's hard to say anything else though. 7 out of 10. João Cancelo ran the show in his unique position, setting up both goals with spectacular passes. Has to be considered the best attacking fullback in the world as of right now. 9 out of 10, and my man of the match. Moving on to the midfield. Rodri. Really classy. Showing from a man who's looking increasingly likely that he's exactly what Manchester City need for the next few seasons. Helps out in defence, not that he really had much to do. And his great passing abilities was really crucial. 7.9 out of 10. Now we move on to our next midfielder, Ilkay Gundagan. Looked more of his usual self today, being a tidy midfield player rather than a goal-scoring threat. Still a very good performance, and was unlucky not to see more returns for his passing due to some wasteful finishing. He gets a 7 out of 10. Bernardo Silva opened the scoring with a brilliant header before using the same part of his body to assist Gabrielle Jesus later on. On a night where the front line looked useless, Bernardo took it on himself to be the catalyst. He gets an 8 out of 10. Raheem Sterling. Good game. And he had a good game and a poor game lately. But tonight was one of the worst he's played all season. After a noticeable upturn over the last few months, he found himself bested by a defender every time he got the ball and made the wrong decision. A bad day at the office. He gets a 4. Gabrielle Jesus was gifted a great chance with a few seconds to overthink it. He opted not to shoot and ended up becoming a wasted opportunity. A few minutes later, a ball dropped him in the box and he tucked it away. Needs a little more composure and a lot more confidence going forward. He gets a 7.5 out of 10. Phil Foden. Best of the front three overall. What a player, by the way. Although none of his creative ideas quite came off to result in a goal. Came very close to scoring though. 8 out of 10. Now we move on to the substitutes. Riyad Mahrez. He gets a 5. He didn't do too much after he came on. Ferran Torres, not applicable. Sergio Aguero, not applicable. Now the manager's rating. Pep Guardiola. He gets a 7 out of 10 for this game. And I actually have Man City as favourites, as one of the favourites to win the Champions League this season. So yeah, that is the end of this video. Reactions to my next 2 videos will be me reacting to my Premier League predictions video and predicting Matchday 26. Both should be out tomorrow. So yeah, stay tuned for that. So with that being said, you have been a one. So yeah, with that being said, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the bell notifications if you haven't already. Social media is in the description below. And the like target for this video is 5 likes, so that would be great. So as for now, you have been a fabulous audience, and this is Nipun Sharma signing off. Take care of yourselves. Peace. Up the Chelsea and London is blue. And I'm out of here. And I shall see you in the next video.